Hello, welcome to the start of another reading vlog. I am outside. The sun is still very high in the sky, even though it's afternoon. It is beautiful in Britain at the moment. Fingers crossed we're going to get a good summer. So I thought I'd come here and film the intro, talk about the books, and then do some reading. I also have my Ralph's coffee cup. So what I will be doing in this reading vlog is I'll be interspersing some of my trip to London. So I recently went to London, spent a couple of days there just for fun. I usually go for work, but it's nice to just go for fun. And I'll like intersperse some of that footage in to make the vlog more interesting. But also one of the places that I love to go is I love Ralph Lauren as a brand. I love, it's actually Polo. I love their clothes. And they have this amazing flagship store on New Bond Street, and they also have Ralph's Cafe. They do really great coffee. I highly recommend the chocolate hazelnut cookie. It is insane. But also this is such a nice sturdy cup, and I am like a 3-year-old. I need a sippy cup because I knock everything over. The amount of cups I've knocked over and broken. So now I'm just perpetually reusing my Ralph's coffee cup. It's just really cute. A little memento, right, until that lid dies. But anyway, to the reading. Also in that vlog, I'll put some footage in of the new MoCo Museum. So the MoCo Museum, they've just opened in London. They've got one in Barcelona and Amsterdam. I've been to the Amsterdam one. It is so cool. If you love modern art, it's amazing. They had a Marina Abramovich exhibition, which I absolutely loved. Robbie Williams randomly. Yeah, they do really great. So like I said, I'll put some of that footage in of just some stuff in London to make it interesting. And then to the books. So I am doing a kind of a new release vlog. So I have some books I'm very excited about. One I've actually started reading, so I'll leave that one to last. And spoiler alert, it's the new Jess Hastings. And then these. So this is a combination of, this is like contemporary family drama fiction, romantic fiction. This is like thriller, murder mystery, fairy tale, dark fairy tale. Then you've got kind of light dark romance, and then some dark romance. So I'm very excited. So let's talk about this one first. Oh, how gorgeous is this? This is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the one with the sprayed edges. It literally has just come out today in Waterstones, and I ran to get it. I love Phantasma. It was one of my books of the year. I actually have, because I read the indie pub version, and I'm really kind of tempted to get the matching Phantasma book because I'm just looking at that in the camera. That's gorgeous. So this is the second book in the series. However, you can, I believe, read these two as standalones because they're kind of different stories. So Phantasma kind of centers one sister, and this is the other sister's story. So this is Genevieve Grimm. And this one, again, is a little bit like a game. Again, it reminds me a little bit of Caraval, but it says, when Genevieve Grimm's mother is killed, Genevieve wants answers no one can give until she receives an invitation to Enchantra, a cursed palace filled with temptations and illusions. I mean, oh, that's all I wanted to know. But arrogant and dangerously handsome, Roman Silver meets her at the door and refuses to let her inside, but Genevieve finds her way in and soon realizes her mistake. So this just sounds glorious. This is kind of giving me shades of, oh gosh, the kind of the first book in Kingdom of the Wicked that is set in kind of Italy-ish. Oh, I just think it's perfect with the weather like this. I feel like this is going to be a beautiful book just to sit out here and read in the sunshine. So I'm hugely excited about that. Then this is Satin Sparrow by Bren Weaver. This is the third book in the kind of the Murder Mayhem series that starts with Witch and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, and then this is the third one. Again, it is a series, but each one does focus on one of the brothers' relationships. So this one is Fionn, and I wasn't that interested, I'll be honest, in Fionn and the other ones because he seemed a little bit of a good boy for me. I like my bad boys. However, I'm really looking forward to reading this because his love interest in this is Rose. And Rose is a circus performer. So she's in the circus, she reads tarot, and she does the kind of Wheel of Death on the motorbike. And I'm really looking forward to her story because the bits we got of her in the other books were really intriguing to me. And I want to kind of see Fionn's story because we didn't really get very much of his story in the previous ones. So this will also, for me, conclude the series. So another series done. I'm very excited. And yeah, I cannot wait to finish that. And that's kind of dark romance, but on the lighter side. It's very funny. I really love Bryn Weaver's writing. I'm going to read way more books of hers. Then the next one I've got is Little Red Death, and this is A.K. Benedict. And I realised I have another A.K. Benedict book on my shelves called The Beauty of Murder that, again, I saw and I just thought, oh, that synopsis sounds good. Let me get it. But this one, I kid you not, I was shopping at Sainsbury's. Yes. I was picking up my chicken and my hummus, and I was like, oh, let's go see what books they have. Normally I'm disappointed. In this case I wasn't, because it was brand new hardback, half price. Thanks, Sainsbury's. And I will read you what I read that pulled me in, but it isn't even the synopsis. But it says on the back of this book, how pretty is this book as well? Okay, dearest reader, once upon a time, right about now, someone was going to die. Deep in the forest, a human was set to meet her unhappy end. But you knew that, didn't you? Death is on the cover of this book, and you hopefully paid for it. Face it, you're a literary hitman. You're to blame, in part, for what's to come, but not as much as the writer. Writers, like cats, murder thousands every year, but get away with it. They leave bodies, breadcrumbs, and red herrings for readers to gather in baskets, yet nothing is done to stop them. Of course, if you were a really good reader, you'd be able to solve this case and save the victims, give them their fairy tale ending. I was like, hello, yes. And also that reminds me of like the intro of Castle, where he says, I like to kill people, but I don't get put in jail for it. If you've watched, I love Castle. Yeah. If anybody's a Castle fan, shout out, just leave me a pen or a comment, please. But what this one is about, so this is about, what's her name? D.I. Lila Rondell. And she is a detective. And she kind of gets this case that they call the Grimm, Grimm, murders. And apparently all these murders are set around Grimm's fairy tales. So I was like, and then also this part, I think that there's a writer being held hostage, so it reminded me of Misery. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this just sounds so good. I love, again, if you know anything about me, dark fairy tales are my thing. And like a murder mystery with dark fairy tales woven into it. I can't, that just sounds so great. And then the last one, and this is the one I had started. This is The Conditions of Will by Jess Hastings. First of all, cover goals. Okay. This book. So Jess Hastings, you may know the name. She is very famous for writing Magnolia Parks, the Magnolia Park series. This is her latest release. This, I believe, is a standalone. Crossed a standalone, should be a standalone. And this is about Georgia. Okay, so Georgia, you find at the beginning of the book, she's living in London, and she's pretty much estranged from her family other than her one brother. So there's Georgia and her brother Oliver, and then there's Tennyson, or Tyson is his name, and Marianne. So there's 4 siblings. 2 of them have pretty much been ostracized by their family, and 2 of them still live with their family in, it's in the American South, very Pentecostal religious family. Wealthy, you know, rich people, Bible Belt drama. So, Georgia gets a message from her sister at home, Marianne, saying, Dad is dead. Come back for the funeral. So they all have to go and gather for the funeral. Now, you realize that part of the reason her brother has been ostracized from the family, Oliver, who's living in LA, is because he's gay. Yeah, the family is, I know, you can't be gay. It's okay, gay's bad. We get rid of the gays. Yes, great. And then Georgia was shipped off to the UK, to London, to a boarding school when she was 15. And you then realize why. So they get back for this family reunion. Her brother Oliver is also, he's been going through AA. He's an addict. So he's been having a tough time. And they get back for this family reunion, and there's just tension. You know, like you can tell these people do not get on. The mother is a piece of work. The sister Marianne is a piece of work. What I love about Georgia as well is Georgia is studying, she's like doing a PhD in like psychology and like behavioral. She can read body language really well. So she can instantly, her family call it like her party trick. She can instantly tell when someone's like lying by, you know, the way their eyes move. She reads micro expressions. She's like she's basically like a human lie detector, and she can kind of like call people on their bullshit. She does it, and of course the family hates this. But I love that about her, and I love the kind of descriptions of the different, so it's a way people like the way they look, you know, your pupils dilate when you look at someone you fancy, things like that. And there is a really funny scene in the beginning of this book where she walks into the family home and she sees this guy, it's really hot Australian guy, and she thinks that he's her brother Oliver's boyfriend, and she instantly goes like, oh, good for Oliver, he brought his boyfriend along, you know, to annoy the family, because you can't be gay. Jesus says no to the gays. Yeah. And there's a whole discussion about it, and that it's very, 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 this is brilliant, by the way. But anyway, so she's just thinking that, you know, this hot guy, and she's just like telling him that he's really hot, that he looks good. She like grabs his arm to look at his tattoos and all of this, and then her brother's like, what's going on here? And she's just like, oh, your boyfriend, well done, Ollie. And he's like, that's not my boyfriend, he's my sponsor, and he's straight. So there is a wonderful budding romance between Sam Penny and our protagonist Georgia, and you find out kind of all her, I don't want to tell you too much about her backstory and why her family ostracized her, but it's awful. And there's a lot of commentary around kind of religion and religious doctrine, and it's really interesting because Georgia says, you know, I believe in Jesus, but I don't believe that you can use the Bible to make people feel bad about themselves or be like, gays are wrong. You know, there's so many interesting conversations around it. It's something that I'm really, really interested in. I've kind of looked up and studied and looked further into a lot of religions, both organized and conventional. I just find it really interesting what people believe. I find cults very interesting, all of that. Again, the psychology around it. It's just something that I love. And there's some really great discussions in this. Again, the way she reads people and the psychology of that is really interesting. You know, the way that these complicated family relationships and relationships in general play out. They find out things about her father when the will is read. They end up taking a trip to Louisiana, to New Orleans. You know, things that happen in the past. It's so good. I am a Jess Hastings convert, I think, after this. I have just been reading, oh God, I'm pretty far. I'm like 330 pages in. It's phenomenal. It's so good. I think if you like any of that, if you like exploring these complicated family dynamics, I just, you know, in all that discussion, there's so many things that'll make you think in it, and how we blame people, and it just, her older sister Marianne, she kind of describes her as a narcissist, and then she talks about like what those traits are. It's just so good. And the other thing that I love is Jess Hastings' voice, the way she writes, and the way she writes Georgia, and it's quite snarky and funny and a bit potty-mouthed. And somebody was talking about this book and they said, oh, you can tell it's an Australian author because of that writing. And I was like, I get that, because I have dated a lot of Australians and know a lot of Australians, and I'm just like, yeah, it does have that voice. I love it. I just think, and this was coming from an Australian originally, that comment, so I'm just like, yeah, girl, I agree. I think it's great. I cannot recommend this if you like anything like complicated rich people family drama with loads of wonderful discussion and things to think about. I'm loving this. I'll give you a check-in when I finish, but I'm gonna get to reading, and I'll check in soon. Bye. Cheers. It is after work. It's a kombucha. And I wanted to ratchet you on my reading. It is glorious. It is still sunny, as you can tell. Very warm. I'm about to go out there and do some more reading, but I've got a reading update. So I completed Scythe and Sparrow, Rubber and Weaver. So this also means that I've completed another series, which I am very excited about. and I'll be posting a series video. So this one I actually ended up listening to on audiobook while I was doing some sewing, which was a really cool time. The audiobook, at least the one I was listening to, it had its good and its bad points. The narrator for Fionn, so the brothers in this duology are Irish. They're from Boston, but they're also Irish. So they have supposedly Irish accents, and the voice actor did, which was very nice. There were some ropey voices for some of the others, but all told, I really enjoyed this story. Like I said, this concludes the series. It's about Fionn and Rose. Fionn is a doctor. He also crochets, which is fun. There is something about a crocheted sex swing. Oh yeah, where'd you get a pattern for that? He also fights. He does like MMA and that kind of thing. So he's a complex character. And I didn't think I would like Fionn as much as I like Lachlan and Rowan. But I did end up really liking him. He's very sweet, but you know, he has some edge. There's a bit of darkness there in our little boy Fionn. And Rose, I loved her as much as I thought I was going to love her. So Rose is a circus performer. She reads tarot, but also she helps women seek, well, retribution for the evil things the men in their lives have done to them. So she has a background of coming from an abusive background. And she's she's been traveling around the country, and women come into her tent for tarot readings, and she gets to know their situations. She has perhaps been helping some of them with their situations. And as with the rest of the series, they get entangled. What I also like about this is the timeline is actually in parallel to the first two books. So it isn't after, it's in parallel. So some of the scenes that you would have seen in Butch and Blackbird actually happen in here, where Rowan and Sloane come to Finian to get Sloane, you know, put back together after her encounter with one of the serial killers. So I loved seeing their story. I love the series. I am a massive fan of this whole series. It is exactly the right kind of dark rom-com that I like. I'm not a rom-com person, but this I like. This is, and it's got like that emotion in it, and it makes you laugh, and it really, there's some really sad kind of moments at the end of this. I just loved it. I thought it was a great conclusion to the series. Also, there are a couple of epilogues. Listen to all of the epilogues. The very last epilogue talks about a character that we meet in here who, it sounds like, will get her own story. So I feel like, because Bryn does say in the beginning, in the intro to the book, you're listening to the audiobook, be sure to stick around for the epilogues. So I feel like we're going to be seeing a new series from Bryn Weaver with that character, and I cannot wait. So love this. This whole series is a 5-star series for me. Love it. Hugely recommended. If you want dark romance, but on very much the lighter side, so it's just fun. Then the other book that I finished is The Conditions of Will by Jess Hastings. I am a convert. Okay. I am a convert to Miss Jess Hastings. This was so good. So the family drama, the intrigue, there were so many, she manages to hit these kind of emotional scenes and do it so well and have these incredible discussions. And like I said, the main character, Georgia, in this, she reads people's facial expressions, and I found that so, and just like body language and that, and she can really read people so well, and I found that so interesting. It was like a bit of, you know, Criminal Minds mixed in with like a contemporary romance, and this isn't necessarily my standard genre that I love the most, but gosh, did I love this. Oh, it was good. The ending, so all of the kind of the family intrigue, and like I said in the beginning, the setup is that the father dies and they go back, and then you see how these relationships twist and turn within the siblings as well, as things are revealed. There's a beautiful romance that runs through. I loved the romance in this. And then also the kind of the secrets that the father was hiding, and when they discover what that is, it's so good. It's so good. This is standalone as well. So if you don't want to read a whole series, this is a 5-star. This we went to the Ivy this time, trying something new. Usually go to Ivy Asia. We had the taster menu. Charlie brought over the cocktail bar for us. Yes. Anyway, I would recommend this. I think it's fantastic. So the two contemporary romance books that I've read this year that I've absolutely loved is this one and The Favourites. And I didn't think I'd love them as much as I did. So maybe I've become a contemporary romance girly. We'll see. And then the next book, so I've got two more books to read. So one is Enchantrap by Kaylee Smith, and that I'm starting today because I'm reading it in parallel with this one. So this is Little Red Death. And I think I said in my intro, this is kind of like a dark fairy tale thriller murder mystery. And I've started this. This is like, did somebody go, oh, we need to write a book for Joe? There you go. There's a book. It's so good. So this is so unusual because you have this, so it is, I think I said misery vibes, and absolutely. So it kind of starts out where you have this writer. She's been kidnapped by someone and stuck in a house. And when she wakes up, she's like locked in a room. It's a typewriter. And then she looks across the way in like the cat flap, and then she sees another room and there's another woman in there. And basically this guy dressed in a wolf mask, right? So the big bad wolf. He says to her, you're a writer. You have to write me a fairy tale and kill off the female character. And then the thing is, he's going to go and enact her fairy tale. So she's, in a way, going to be responsible for the death of someone. And at first she's like, no, I can't do this. And then she's talking to this woman across the way. And this woman like looks like she's been beaten up and that. And this woman goes like, I refuse to do it. And now he's going to kill me. And then she kind of witnesses him killing the other woman, presumably another writer, and she's like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna write this story. And you get her stories in here, which was so cool because they're like twisted fairy tales. She like takes like Cinderella, and then she sets it with a woman going to Primark and buying an outfit to go to the club, you know, and then like a gold high heel and stuff like that. It's really good, but it's really twisty and weird, and I've gotten to a point where it's gotten kind of trippy. And I'm like, whoa, hang on. Are we going down like a magical realism route here? Are we actually going to have the fae and the fairy tales and stuff come to like, is there going to be a real world explanation, or is there going to be a fairy tale mythical explanation? And we'll see as I go through the book. I might give some more thoughts because I'm really enjoying this. I cannot wait. So I'm going to read the rest of that and let you know. And then I'm also going to intersperse some more stuff from London, and I'll come back to you with some more thoughts. Bye. Okay, you're getting a gym update. We haven't done this in a while. I need to, get my steps in while I'm reading. So, oh my god, this is so trippy. So, we've got this writer now. She's like saying, as she's writing the characters, they're coming to life. So I don't know if that's the case, in which case it reminds me a little bit of Malice House and the Hazelwood, where in Malice House, the main character like draws characters from books and they come to life and they kind of manifest as these kind of evil, dark fairy tale creatures in the real world. So I don't know if that's what she's doing, but then, or if it's just like psychosis. But you've also got the detective, Lila, who also is questioning whether she's actually real or like a figment of the writer's imagination. And so another strand of the story is that her best friend Alison, when they were kids, she went missing, and they kind of feel like she's the first victim of this kind of grim murderer, because all they found was an apple, one side of it green, one side of it red. It was like poisoned, and Alison, this girl, went missing and they never found her. And she's just gone back to Alison's parents' house, and they like, it sounds like the father's saying, oh, you're actually real. We thought Alison made you up. So I don't know if we're going to head in that. It's just, also the main character, she's got ADHD, so there's some great rep in here as well. But this is just so, I can't work out, like, if this is going to be a standard, like, police procedural thriller, or if we're heading in a proper weird fairy tale vibe. And then the other thing is, the wolf is basically saying to the writer, and it's a really good thing. He's saying, so the writer that he has captured as writing the story writes crime thrillers, and she writes from the killer's POV. And he kind of says to her, consider the stuff that you write, the dark stuff you write, is it giving people ideas? Are you to blame for some of the crimes that are happening? It's a question. I love it. It's so good. We're going to read some more. Okay, this book. I just finished Little Red Death by A.K. Benedict. And honestly, I was like, what is going on? This was like it was like a fever dream of a crime thriller. It was so cool. It's like nothing I've ever read. I mean, like I said, you've got elements of that Malice House, a little bit of Hazelwood, a little bit of Misery. There's lots of kind of musings on the nature of writing and creating, and it was just so cool. This kind of fusion of the fairy tales in it and the what's real, what isn't. I think I still may be slightly confused, but I loved it. It was a good confused. This is so good. Like I said, this is like unlike any thriller I've ever read. And I have another A.K. Benedict book, Alexandra I think is her name, book on my shelf, and I'm definitely going to read that. That's the Beauty of Murder. So yeah, I hugely recommend this. This is another 5-star read for me because it was just so trippy and strange and weird. It's just in the best possible way. I love this. I hugely recommend. Maybe a bit of an absinthe, but if you like licorice, go for it. It was so good.
Hilton Hotel.
I would, if you're interested, show you my haul from London. I didn't buy too much. I didn't go mad. I only actually got 2 books. I didn't get any fiction books. So I'll show you the 2 books I got. So I went to Ralph Lauren. I'll show you that next, but I'll show you the books first. This is A Decade of Men's Style, Men's Street Style. And this was actually half price at Selfridges. What's that all about? Half price books at Selfridges. Times are hard. But this is so cool. I personally love menswear. I mean, I love all fashion. I mean, I've got... If anybody's interested, I can do a video on fashion books. I have more fashion books in the library. Anyway, I love fashion and fashion books, but I particularly actually really like menswear. For some reason, I find menswear more stylish than women's wear generally, and I actually like to dress in a lot of menswear and a lot of menswear styles. So this is going to be very cool. And then the other book I got is the polo shirt. This is from Ralph Lauren. This is literally the history. I love a good polo. Polo Ralph Lauren is one of my favorite brands to wear day to day. I love a lot of like avant-garde brands and things like Rick Owens and Comme des Garçons, but a lot of those pieces can be quite difficult to wear just, to the office, although I have been known. But this is so cool. It basically gives you the kind of the history of the polo shirt. I find this really interesting. And then I went to, I think I said I had coffee at Ralph's, and I went to the flagship store, and I couldn't help myself. So I've worn this one already, but I got my polar bear. So I love anything with the polo bear on it as well. I've got a couple of pieces, and this cap is, and again, I love caps. This cap is just, and this color green, I loved it. And then so one of the things that I do like about, sorry, I'm choking, luxury retail is just the way everything's presented. So it's so nicely packaged. Also, that kind of, they give you this. My essay is Adam, and they'll put their, like, your essay kind of puts the card in. So when you go back. But anyway, so I was in the market for a new polo shirt. And I was like, I always wear, the blues and the darks and the navies and kind of very maritime colors. And I was like, it's spring. Let's branch out. So boy, have I branched out. So I went with this beautiful violet color after much discussion between the essays, kind of holding up all the colors going, does this look nice? This seemed to be the general consensus. So I'm very excited to wear this summer. And I think I love these shirts. I just feel like you can kind of wear them with anything and it always looks good. Anyway, that was my mini haul. Back to the reading. Okay, I have started Enchantra. I am 140 pages in because it is phenomenal. I was hoping this was going to be good because I loved Phantasma so much. But I really like I'm almost teeter-tottering with, do I like this more than Phantasma? I don't know. I think at the moment they're on par. What I love about this is You have the other, so Ophelia is the sister with kind of the main storyline in Phantasma, and then you have Genevieve, her other sister. And Genevieve feels a little lost and a little left out, because Ophelia all of her life has been kind of trained to take over as the necromancer of the family, as the firstborn daughter. And Ophelia and Genevieve has this thing where she kind of feels almost a little bit like her mother didn't really give a damn about her. She was the spare, but like with the royals, right? You've got the heir and the spare. So I think that's kind of how Genevieve felt. And then she sees this letter that her mother got from somebody called Barrington Silver, and she goes to travel to his estate, thinking that she's going to meet another necromancy family. They're wraiths, not what she was expecting. And then this whole thing with Enchantra kicks off. So this book kind of gives me vibes, and so you may have seen the background of my channel is Kingdom of the Wicked, and that is one of the Kerry Maniscalco books that I love. Kerry Maniscalco, I love that series. One of the things that got me back into kind of fantasy and romantasy, and it gives me those kind of vibes. Also, obviously, Phantasma, also Caraval vibes with the whole, because you've got the devils and the game, and I love anything with games. So just this whole setup is something I love, because it feels like, almost something familiar, but with a new take on it. When she kind of goes to this estate and she realizes that they're not a necromancy family, they're kind of a wraith family. You also, all the different siblings, so there's 7 of them. And the descriptions of all the, so there's 6 brothers and 1 sister. They're great. I love Corvin. He's very mysterious. They all have like animal familiars as well, which is really cool. One's a serpent, one's a fox. It's just, the whole kind of atmosphere, it's kind of very gothic in a way, but also I'm just having the best time, the most fun. Also, what I quite like about this is she travels by carriage, she has kind of gowns, and this was the same in Phantasma. But then also, like, one of the wraiths, one of the sort of devils, he has a lip ring, and she swears a hell of a lot. She has a potty mouth, and she says things that are quite modern. So I know that may be something that puts people off, but I quite like the combination of the modern and then the clothes and it kind of feels like it's modern Victoria. It's a bit steampunkish in that way, but without all the, I guess, technology that usually sits with steampunk. But this is so much fun. So, like I said, so she goes there, she meets this family, and she's like, they're not necromancers, they're wraiths. And then it turns out that this family has been playing this game, The Hunt, for pretty much ever, for the devil's entertainment, but also to save their mother's life. So every year they've got to play this hunt game. One of them wins, one of the siblings wins. They get like a year off, and the rest of them all have to go to hell and entertain the devils for a year. And then it starts again. But unfortunately, because Genevieve has shown up, she's now stuck in Enchantra and in this game. And the only way she can survive as a mortal in this game is to marry one of the wraiths, which she does. And now our story starting, there's this massive masquerade ball, and then Enchantra proper is going to start. It's so good. So you've got that kind of almost forced proximity, arranged marriage, kind of enemies to lovers, because she's obviously not happy about having to be forced to marry someone and then enter this kind of crazy game where she could quite possibly be killed or end up in hell. Although personally I would want to end up in hell. But it's just in the descriptions of like the masquerade, the gowns and her wedding gown, and like I said, all the different wraiths and the devils. It's Kaylee Smith has my heart. I've got another Kaylee Smith book, Ruinous Fate, which I'm absolutely dying to get to. I think that's like a Fae book. So, and I think that's also a series. So I can't wait to read more Kaylee Smith. But yeah, I've read a few new releases lately that have kind of, or some fantasy books that have kind of disappointed me. Spoiler, One Dark Window. But love it. So I'm going to read some more. Enjoy my coffee, enjoy my morning, and then I'll speak to you all soon. Okay, quick Phantasma update. Sorry, Enchantra update. I love this. I think with this one, you have the different rounds of the game, right? A bit like you do in Phantasma. So like day 1, round whatever of the game. Also a bit like you do in Serpent and the Wings of Night, which I love. Like I said, I love anything with the game. This one, in terms of the game, is a lot less kind of horror, bloody crazy. It's literally just the siblings kind of chasing each other and trying to eliminate each other and trying to eliminate Genevieve. So in that regard, it's not quite as intense in terms of the game. But what I would say about Enchantra is it's definitely like a romance. I am loving the romance between Genevieve and Rowington. I also really love all of the other brothers and the sisters, so I'm really hoping that Kaylee Smith is going to write about them in the next book, because I was on I'm on Kaylee's like subscription, and I was on the email on her website just like checking, you know, are there going to be more books? And on the website it says there's going to be another book in the Wicked Games series, which is this series, in September. So I am just like, and at this point I want it to be about Severin because I love him. One of the brothers has always got like a lollipop in his mouth. It's a blood lollipop, and he's kind of really snarky, and he's like my favorite character other than the mains. So I really love him. But yeah, so the game is less intense. The romance is amazing. This is like about like the two of them and the characters. I'm loving it. I also love, like, in the chapter I just read, they actually went to hell because they won like immunity from one of the rounds. So Genevieve and Rowington went to hell. And I love anything in hell, right? So that's why I adore Kingdom of the Wicked. And the descriptions of hell are so cool. I absolutely love it. And you're also getting bits of like Salem and Ophelia, so from the first book, because Salem is the kind of the prince of devils, and there's a little bit of intrigue going on there. Nox, our main devil, and he's trying to get her to make a deal because the you know, they want him back, they want Salem back. This is just, it's so beautiful. The descriptions are fantastic. I'm having the best time. The romance, I love this. I'm almost finished, so I'm literally like, I've only got that much left to read, but I absolutely love it, and I cannot wait for another book in this series at the end of the year. I'm really hoping that in September we get another one. Also, side note, I have this queued up. So this is A Ruinous Fate. This is the other Kaylee Smith series that is out. Again, this is book 1. I think book 2 is out and book 3 is coming in the next few months. So as much like this is literally just weaseled its way to the top of my TBR, so I'm going to be reading this post haste, and then I can kind of talk about Kaylee Smith as well generally in a video, because I'm doing loads of like my favorite author videos. And then I'm also really super excited, Fearless has come out, so I love the Powerless series. That may be a controversial opinion, but this is the last book in the series. So I've read Powerful, Powerful, Reckless, because Powerful is like the novella that comes in between. And then this is the third book, Fearless, and this concludes the series. So it'll be another series down. So I am absolutely on track for my series video. But again, this may have just jumped to the to the top of my TBR because I really want to conclude the Powerless series and know what happens. So, you know, I want to know if Peyton and Kai have a happily ever after. We'll see. Please don't break my heart, Lauren Roberts. Okay, final thoughts on Enchantra. I loved it. I absolutely freaking loved it. I don't know if I loved it more than Phantasma, but I think from a romance, I liked it more. In the end of this, Salem and Ophelia pop up. There is like a twist right at the end. I was like, no! But I absolutely loved it. The way it ends, you can absolutely read it as a standalone, but I feel like we may, in the next one, we may get some of the storyline continue, so I'm really excited about that. September TBC, according to Kaylee's website, is we're going to get the next installment of Enchantra, of the Wicked Games series, and I'm going to be reading it straight away. And then just as a final wrap up, all of these books, so the other 3 books I read, including Enchantra, these are all 5 stars. These are the best meals, all of the desserts, all of the cocktails, some coffee. It was all amazing. I had the best time in this vlog. Like and subscribe if you want to see more vlogs. Let me know if there's any books that are new or that are interesting to you that you think would be cool to read, or any genres. Let me know. And thank you for watching. I will see you all again soon. Bye.